In the heart of a vast, ancient forest, where the trees grew tall enough to brush the heavens, and the canopy was so dense that only the bravest beams of sunlight dared to pierce through, there lay a secret known only to the spirits that dwelled within. This forest, feared and revered by all who lived near its edge, was a place of both wonder and terror. The village of Nkeruka, nestled just beyond the forest boundaries, had always regarded it with a mix of respect and caution, for they knew that to enter its depths was to walk among the unknown. The elders of Nkeruka often spoke in hushed tones about the sacred drum that was hidden somewhere within the forest. It was said that this drum, made from the wood of the oldest tree and the hide of a mysterious beast, could communicate with the spirits of the forest. The drum's beat could summon the animals, call forth the wind, and even make the trees whisper their secrets. But such power was not to be trifled with, for the forest spirits were not always kind, and the drum's voice could just as easily bring disaster as it could bring fortune. One day, a young boy named Nkem, no older than 10, found himself lost in the very heart of this forest. Nkem was a curious child, always wondering where he shouldn't, always asking questions that had no easy answers. That day, he had ventured too far from the village, chasing after a bright butterfly that seemed to dance just beyond his reach. As the hours passed, the realization of his situation began to sink in. He was lost. Panic began to set in as Nkem stumbled through the underbrush, his small feet tripping over roots and stones. The once inviting forest now seemed to close in around him, the shadows growing darker, the air thicker. He called out for his mother, for his father, for anyone who might hear him, but his voice was swallowed by the vastness of the forest. Just as he was about to give in to despair, Nkem heard something, a soft, rhythmic sound that seemed to pulse through the very ground beneath his feet. It was a drumbeat, steady and strong, echoing through the trees. Drawn by the sound, Nkem followed it, his fear momentarily forgotten. After what felt like hours of walking, he finally found the source of the sound. In a small clearing, bathed in a shaft of golden sunlight, stood an enormous drum. It was unlike anything Nkem had ever seen. The drum was as tall as a man, its surface intricately carved with symbols that seemed to shift and move as he looked at them. The drumsticks lay on the ground beside it, thick and steady, as if they were waiting for someone to pick them up. Without thinking, Nkem reached for the drumsticks. His small hands closed around the wood, and he felt a strange warmth spread through him, as if the drum was alive and welcoming him. He hesitated for only a moment before he lifted the sticks and brought them down on the drum surface. The sound that erupted from the drum was like thunder, rolling through the forest with a power that shook the very trees. The ground trembled, and Nkem felt as if the air itself was vibrating. But the most astonishing thing happened next. The animals began to appear from the shadows of the trees. They emerged. First came the birds, their colorful feathers catching the light as they fluttered down to perch on the branches above. Then came the deer, the rabbits, and even the great, lumbering elephants. Nkem watched in awe as creatures he had only heard about in stories appeared before him, forming a circle around the clearing. But the animals were not the only ones to answer the drum's call. The trees themselves seemed to come alive, their leaves rustling as if whispering secrets to one another. The wind picked up, swirling around Nkem in a gentle caress, and for a moment, he felt as if the entire forest was listening. Then, from the midst of the animals, stepped a great lion, its mane flowing like a golden river, its eyes sharp and wise. The lion approached Nkem, who felt no fear, only a deep sense of respect. The lion said,
"Child, you have summoned the council of the forest. Speak your purpose, for the spirits are listening."
Nkem was speechless, his mind racing. He had no purpose, no grand reason for being there. He had only been lost, frightened, and curious. But as he stood before the council, he realized that he had been brought here for a reason. Nkem began, his voice trembling.
I was lost. I didn't mean to call you. I was just trying to find my way home.
The lion regarded him with those piercing eyes, and for a moment, Nkem thought he might have angered the spirits. But then the lion nodded.
Sometimes, the greatest journeys begin by accident, but know this, child. The drum you have found is not just a drum. It is the voice of the forest, a bridge between your world and ours. It holds the secrets of the trees, the animals, and the spirits that dwell within. You have summoned us, and now we will share with you a secret that has been guarded for centuries.
Nkem's heart pounded in his chest. A secret. What could the forest possibly have to share with him? The lion raised its head, and the other animals followed suit. The trees seemed to lean in closer, and the wind stilled, as if the entire forest was holding its breath.
Your village is in danger. There is a darkness that is spreading, a shadow that seeks to consume our life. It comes from the depths of the earth, from a place where no light can reach. The spirits have sensed its approach, and we have been waiting for someone who could help us stop it. That someone is you, Nkem.
Nkem's eyes widened in shock. How could he, a simple child, possibly stop such a terrible thing? But how? He stammered. The lion's gaze softened, and it stepped closer to Nkem, so close that the boy could feel the warmth of its breath.
The drum. It is more than just a drum. It is a key, a weapon, and a guide. With it, you can call upon the spirit of the forest, and together, we can fight this darkness. But you must be brave, Nkem. You must have faith in yourself and in the power of the forest.
Nkem looked at the drum, and for the first time, he saw it for what it truly was, a sacred, ancient object, filled with a power that was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. He knew that the task before him was immense, but he also knew that he could not turn away. His village, his family, needed him. "I will do it," Nkem said, his voice steady and resolute. "I will help you fight the darkness." The lion nodded in approval, and the animals began to chant, a low, rhythmic sound that echoed through the clearing. The trees swayed in time with the chant, and the wind picked up once more, swirling around Nkem like a protective embrace.
"You are not alone, Nkem. The spirits are with you, and so are we. Together, we will drive back the darkness and restore balance to the land."
With that, the lion stepped back, and the animals began to disperse, fading back into the shadows of the forest. The wind died down, and the trees returned to their silent vigil. The drum, however, remained, its surface now glowing faintly, as if it had absorbed the energy of the council. Nkem stood alone in the clearing, but he no longer felt lost or afraid. He knew that he had been chosen for a reason, and he would not fail. He would return to his village, and with the drum's power, he would fight the darkness that threatened them all. As he picked up the drum and began his journey back, the forest seemed to part before him, guiding him home. And though he knew the path ahead would be difficult, Nkem felt a deep sense of peace, knowing that he was now a part of something much greater than himself.